So what we're first going to do is we're first going to start on our desktop. And from our desktop, we are going to create a little folder called Minecraft game. Now in here, I've already downloaded a Minecraft server 1.15.2, and I can take you through the whole thing. And I have created a bat file, which is very easy to do. Text document like this, start.bat, and then you can delete that. Yes. Yes, because I've already got it here, and it turns it into a bat file, and this is used to start your Minecraft server. Now you can right click and edit, and it just opens it up in Notepad like this. So to run our server, Java XMS, which is the smallest amount of memory we are going to allow our server to use, which is 2048 megabytes, or about 2 gigabytes. XMX, which is the largest amount of memory, again 2 gigabytes. -jar, because our server is a jar file, and then the name of our jar file. So ours is spigot-1.15.2.jar. I've got a run command here /no GUI, which is no graphical user interface, so we don't get a graphical user interface for our server, we just get the command window. So you can save that as a bat file, and then double click to run it, and this will start. Now it will say that it failed to load any server properties, failed to load the EULA, which is the end user license agreement, and we have to edit this before we can go any further. So we go into our EULA user, and basically we have to change this false to a true, and this is you indicating that you agree to their end user license agreement, which you can read if you really want to. Does anybody really read those things? I doubt it. Save. Right, and then we can run our server. Now it will take a little while to start and generate the world for us. So it's preparing the spawn area for us. And preparing the nether world for us. And preparing the end world for us. Took 144 milliseconds, and it is done. Now we can connect to this world now, if we so wanted to. I'm going to stop this server. And there's all of our files that have been generated. Now, in server properties, because we don't want a world generated like this, I want a flat world to build my game in. What I'm going to do is open up server properties in a text editor. Now I like to use Sublime Text. Sublime Text 3, there's also a view that you can use so that you can view Minecraft command code, and it highlights anything that's wrong in pink for you like this, so you know if it's right or not. No. What I'm going to do is open up my server properties in here, and I'm going to look for a couple of values, the first being game mode. Now I want to change the game mode to creative. Oh. Creative. I want to enable command blocks. Might want to use some. I want the query port and server port to stay the default 25565, so I can connect and I don't need to play around with port numbers. PvP is true because we're going to start building a PvP game. Spawn NPC non-player characters I'm going to put to false. Generate structures, don't need structures, I want that to be false as well. Spawn animals, I don't want it to spawn animals, so we're going to set that to false. Difficulty easy. Spawn monsters, don't want any of those. False. Online mode true, allow flight false. Now level type is the last one. You see it says default. Default level type is your basic Minecraft world that you'd see in any survival world or server. I'm going to change this to super flat, and this will give us a super flat world. I'm going to then save this, Control S or File and then Save. Then I can close this and then I can run our server again. Now it'll go through the same procedure, making a new super flat world for us. It'll be a bit quicker because it doesn't need to generate anything whatsoever. So this time it done it in 721 milliseconds. But we aren't finished there. We also need some tools to help us build and to help us get set up. Now, I like to use a couple of plugins. So here's our, I've just connected to our Minecraft server that we run at Club Minecraft. And I keep in our server folder a list of or a copy of all the plugins that we use. Now there are two very important ones that help for building. So Voxel Sniper is the first one, which is like a terrain editing tool, and Worldedit, which is just a super tool if you want to build very quickly. You can download both of these, just Google search them. So I'm going to take a copy of these. I'm just going to drop them into the plugin folder like that. And that is it. To get them plugins working, you just save those two, or any plugin, into the plugins folder. Stop the server. Restart the server. Few errors. And we're good to go. So, what we now do is move over to our game. So this is the Minecraft normal window, multiplayer, direct connect. Now I'm going to type in the address 127.0.0.1, which is your computer's address for itself. And that's the same on any computer. And I join the server. And it will log me in. Now I've done something wrong because this isn't a super flat terrain. And what is this? Pillager outpost. Disconnect. Back to our server. Stop our server. Delete the world files. Double check server properties. Definitely put in super flat, didn't I? Where has that gone? False true 16. Oh yeah, default again. Right, let's try it again. Super flat. Save. File. Save. Exit. Let's try again. Regenerating the worlds now. Okay. Back to Minecraft. Let's try joining again. What? And this is why I should pre-record instead of live stream. I wonder if they have updated it so that it's not super flat anymore, it's just flat. It used to be called super flat. Yeah, look, level type default. Flat. Save. Try one more time before having to look it up, right? So it's just coming up there. Looks to be generating fine. Back to Minecraft. Join server. That's better, so it's flat, not super flat. So they've obviously updated the syntax and yeah, I wasn't aware. Right, so here is our super flat world. It is just a super flat world. No mobs, no animals, no structures, and it's 4 blocks deep. And then you fall out into the void. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. Now, I'm going to pop this back. First thing I like to do is teleport myself to the centre of the world. But I can't because I'm not an operator and I don't have permissions to use commands. So first of all, I have to give myself OP. So that is just OP and then my username. Boop. I am now a server operator, so I have the ability to run all the commands. So I'm going to teleport myself to 040. And here I am. F3 brings up all of your debugging information, but also your coordinates, so I can just check that I am standing on looking at block 030, which is this one here. Looking at block 040, so I was just standing on level 4. Now I'm on level 5. Now I always like building from here. It's just easy for me to then understand that I'm building from 040, and if I ever lose my build, I know just to teleport back to 040, and I know that I will find my build again. Because you can get lost sometimes in worlds, even in super flat worlds, and you can be zooming around, and you'll never find your build again. So, pro tip. So let's start. Let's kick off with first of all build Worldedit, which is your building tool. So we do / wand. This gives us a building tool. This allows us to click 2 points, 1, 2, first with the left click and the right click, and then we can set this to anything we want, and it sets those to stone. We don't have to just do a line, we can do a whole area, set stone. We can also do /undo and then /undo again. Okay, very useful tool for when building. Worldedit also allows you to create shapes like pyramids, circles, cylinders, just by typing in some commands. So it's very useful in that respect. Given that this is our corner here, and we want to build in this area, so I'm just going to walk forwards a bit, and we're going to make a PvP game. Very simple, easy, quick PvP game. So I'm going to make a little arena. So what I'm going to do, just build up into the air slightly like this. I'm going to do //c CLY to create a cylinder. I'm going to have that cylinder made of stone. I'm going to have it, oh, you know what, I'm going to have it, so you need a radius next, so our PvP arena is going to be 17 blocks wide and 1 block high. There we are. That's our PvP arena. It's plain, it's boring, I know, but it was easy. Now what we're going to do is going to do the same thing. We're going to do H cylinder, which stands for hollow cylinder, and we're going to do it 5 blocks high and not made of stone. What should we do? What should we make the walls of? Bricks. There we go. So now we've got our bricks. So we made a hollow cylinder on top of our 1 block high cylinder, and there is our PvP arena. I'm going to mark the center because it's always very useful to know your center location. What I'm also going to do is start taking some notes. So we can get rid of our window that's running our server. We won't need that. I'm going to get rid of our server properties window because we don't need that. On here I'm going to mark down the coordinates of the center of our PvP arena, which happen to be 50, 11, 40. Okay, I'm going to say center of PvP arena. Okay, that's going to be crucial later when we start building our function files and coding our game. We also need to know how wide. Now we did a radius of 17 blocks, so it should be 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So the edge will be 18 blocks. Okay. So now we're just going to make this radius equals 17, so that we know the radius is 17. Now what we want to do is create a small lobby where players will first spawn in before they have to go into the arena to battle. We'll probably end up using the same commands, but we'll make it a little different. Still want to make sure I'm inside this, but not near, or not too near the arena. So here, make it a couple of blocks high. So again, with our cylinder, CYL // CYL. Again with the stone, or should we make it out something a bit more interesting, like quartz pillars? We're going to make this a little smaller than the arena, but still an odd number so that we have a center block. If you do an even number, you don't have a center block. Your center is sort of 4. And if you're a bit OCD when making and designing things, it's nice to have a center block. So let's say 9, and again only 1 high. That's our center there. So if we stand over this, and now we're going to make a hollow cylinder on top of this to make our walls. So H sil, and we're going to do again 5 blocks high. And what goes well with white? Purple. So purple blocks, purple block, purple pillar. There we go, and this can be our lobby area. What I'm going to do there, and this is where we want people to spawn in when they first join the world. This is where they're going to spawn. So we need to set this as the world spawn. So set world spawn, and that's set it to 8842. And if you look at our XYZ coordinates, we are at 8842. So that means any player coming into the game will spawn on top of that block there. Okay, that's it really for the building, because as I say, the rest we're going to have people teleport over to here, and then they're going to fight each other. If they die, they're going to respawn over here, and that's how it works. It's always good. What we'll probably build is something here so that people know how to start the game. So we'll put some pillars here so it's obvious, like that. button, start button there, and maybe a little what we're looking for, sign. Maybe signs. Press to start. Okay. So that's nice and easy. Okay. So players will spawn in here. If everybody is ready, they push the button to start. That'll activate all of our code. People will be teleported and whatnot. People will be given weapons and armor, fight to the death, rah 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 rah, until there's one player left. He's the winner. He wins, she wins, they win. And then they teleport back. Okay. First thing we're going to do is give ourselves a command block. Excuse me. Oh yeah. Put that on the back of there, and that's going to start one of our function files. So, with that all set up, we're now going to change over to the code. Now, in the world file, there is a data packs folder. Now, in the data packs folder, what you will need to do is create, so the bucket folder is already in there with pack MC meta, you can just leave that alone. What you need to do is create a subfolder called effects. In there, copy the pack meta over from your bucket folder, pop it in there, and then create a folder called data. In there, you want to create a folder called custom and a folder called Minecraft. Okay, these do two different things. The Minecraft one tells Minecraft that we are going to tag a function with this information, main. Okay, so what you want to do is create a file, again like text document, call it tick.json. Okay, edit it in your text editor of choice, mine being Sublime Text. Open curly brackets, open quote marks, values, close quote marks, semicolon, square brackets, quotation marks, custom colon main, quote marks, close square brackets, close curly brackets, and then save. Okay. If we go back to data packs, okay, data, that's the Minecraft folder. In the custom folder, you want to create another subfolder called functions, and then in here is where you're going to put your function files. Now these are files that contain lists of Minecraft commands that when the server is reloaded, they load into the server. So they become part of the actual Minecraft code, and you can execute them or make them run in the game by doing the command /function space custom colon and then the name of the function file. Now the reason that we created this Minecraft folder and the tag function tick.json and the tick custom main is that we will create a function file called main, and that function file is going to be embedded in the Minecraft code just like all the rest, but it will execute or run all of its commands with every tick of the game. Now Minecraft runs at 20 ticks per second. That means that 20 times a second Minecraft looks at everything that's happening, where all the mobs are, where all the players are, where all the entities are, where all the arrows are, where all the items on the ground are, where all the leaves are, and it sees if anything needs updating. It updates that, all of that information, and then moves on to the next tick. Okay, and that happens 20 times a second. And to make some games, we want things to happen 20 times a second, or as fast as humanly possible. This allows us to do that. Okay, so once we've created this flag, and we flagged a function file in our custom directory, and we've called it main. Okay, so effects, data, custom, functions. We're going to create a new function file, main.mc function. I'm going to delete that .txt. It will say that it might become unusable, and are we sure we want to change it? Yes, we do. And there it is. We can open it with just a normal text editor with Notepad, and it'll just be black and white text. But what we can do is open it with Sublime Text Editor, which has a built-in Minecraft code base, so that if you type Minecraft code into it, it recognizes it, and if you make any mistakes, it highlights it in pink. For instance, if I want to teleport all players to 040. Now you can see it changing color, turning pink sometimes. That means it's not right, and I need to enter something else. When all the pink is highlighting's gone, it means the code is right. And so I know that when I load this function file into the game, it's able to execute all the code. Now I don't want to teleport everybody to 040 in the main function file. If you remember, the main function file is happening 20 times a second. 20 times a second, everybody is going to be teleported to 040. Pretty lousy game, really. So I'm not going to put that in. What we're also going to do is use the hashtag. Now the hashtag allows us to write stuff in our main function that's not executed or run by the server, which is very, very handy, especially when making games, and especially when you've made so many games that you go back to the code later on and you don't quite understand what some of the code does. This allows you to put in an explanation in English to what the code does. But it also allows me to, or anyone, to brainstorm ideas. So for instance, I want in our game to have some start conditions. Okay, so I'm going to put the start conditions. I'm gonna also add in add players to non-PvP team. So I'm going to create two teams, a PvP team and a non-PvP team, and that way players can't hurt each other in the lobby when the game isn't running yet. Start conditions, so that will be how the game starts. I'm then going to have main game timer, because you want a timer in there. And then I want the game to end at some point, so we're going to have victory conditions. And these are conditions, and when they're met, the game ends. So, for instance, everybody dies apart from one player, or the game timer runs out. So this allows me to put together a framework of how the game is going to be programmed. Now, you can do this on a bit of paper. You can do it with post-it notes on a wall. I've done it with post-it notes on a poster. I've used whiteboards, but it allows you to sort of map out the whole game sequence very effectively. Now, there are some function files that we want to execute that won't be running 20 times a second. For instance, when the game first starts, we need to teleport everybody into the main arena. Now, that only ever needs to happen once. So you can create other function files that only run once when certain conditions are met. For instance, if you have a timer running on a scoreboard, when the timer reaches 5, you can then execute a command, or you can execute another function file with a list of commands. Okay, now we want to do that. We want, at a certain given moment in time, we want to run our start function, which is going to do several different things. So start.mc function. So this will be run in our start conditions. Yes, I do. I'm going to bring this in as well to our text editor. We need to teleport all players into the arena. We need to give players weapons and armor. What else do we need to do? Oh, we'll probably need to give players saturation and regen, because sometimes if players die in game, or if they're the winner, when it teleports them back to the lobby to restart, they might not have full health or full hunger bar, so we're going to make sure that they're saturated and regened. Okay. Now, center of the PvP arena was 50, 11, 40. So this one is nice and easy. TP, short for teleport. At A, which is short for at all players. And then we're going to teleport them to 50, 12, 40. So we're teleporting them one block higher. Sometimes, for whatever reason, if you're teleporting a lot of players all at one go, some of them can clip into the block. So when I teleport, I always teleport players one block higher than they need to be. They don't occur any damage, just fall in one block. So that's what I do. What we also want to do is give players some weapons. So we're going to use the give command at all. Minecraft. Should we be nice? Diamond. Give them each one diamond sword. We're going to now give each player a bow, just one, and we're going to give all players, did it go in Minecraft? Arrow, and we're going to give them 64 so they don't run out. Or they do run out, but they have to collect them off of dead bodies, who knows. Saturation and regen, this uses the effect command, so effect, effect give at all Minecraft regeneration. And then how long do we want to give them regeneration for? 3 seconds. But how strong? So first is the number of seconds, then is the multiplier. So if you give them regen 1, regen's 1 heart. But if we give them regen 100, we're definitely going to give them all their hearts back. And then true. So that true is whether you want particle effects to be shown or not. I don't want the players knowing that they've got regen. So I'm just going to say true. You could say false, in which case all the players would have particle effects to start with. Next, we're going to give them saturation. Minecraft saturation. Again, 3 seconds for 100 multiplier. True. Okay. That's okay for our start function. Now, how do we want the game to start? Do we want them to immediately start when we push a button? Do we want a little bit of a countdown? I know that when this happens, I want them to be teleported into the main arena straight away. What I'm going to do is just indent these. And in my text editor, this just allows for me to shrink these down if it gets too cluttered on the screen, so I can concentrate on one thing at a time. I definitely want this start function to execute at a given time, but I don't want it necessarily straight away once the button is pushed, because players need to get ready, so we want some sort of countdown. So this will execute after a short countdown. But I want to say something to all the players when they do get teleported and given all their armor. Something like go or PvP away or something less cheesy than that. Something like, say to players to fight with an exclamation. So we're going to use the title command. Title at all again. Now there are several different titles. The big writing is the title. The little writing under the big writing is a subtitle. You also have what's called your action bar, which is just above your hotbar. But I want it in nice big writing, so it's going to be title. If you just write fight in quote marks, it'll just say fight in white. But what you can do is you can change the color. You can also give it bold or italics. You need to wrap this type of text into some curly braces. And we're going to use some quote marks. We're going to say text colon quote marks again. So our text is a fight exclamation, and then separated by a comma. We're going to say color. Unfortunately, the American spelling, so without the U, and then speech marks again. And what color do we want it? Red. Red's a good color for fight, I think. So when this function executes, it'll say to all the players, fight in red. It'll teleport all the players to the center of the arena, but one block above the center of the arena. It's going to give all the players a Minecraft diamond sword, a bow, 64 arrows. It's all going to give them. It's also going to give them regeneration for 3 seconds with a multiplier of 100, and saturation for 3 seconds with a multiplier of 100. Both without showing the particle effects. Excellent. I think that's good. This is freeware, by the way, but you do have the option to purchase to get extra bells and whistles on it. So yeah. Anyway, add players to the non-PvP team. So this is where we need to get some coordinates for our lobby area. So I'm going to go back to the game. And so this is the center of the arena here, and we can see that we are at 8:42. So in my notes here, center of the lobby. It's going to be 8:42, like that, and then with a radius of 9, I believe. Right, so in our main function, what we need to do is add players who are joining the lobby to a team that has PvP disabled. So in Minecraft, you can create lots of different teams, call them what you want with different colors, and they all have different attributes. Now, when PvP is turned on in the server properties, like we saw, it means that when people join, PvP is enabled, and we don't want people fighting in the lobby. So we have to create a team and turn PvP off for that team. So everybody joins the same team, so they can't fight. But then we create another team with PvP on and make them swap teams when the game starts. So what we're going to have in here is team join at all. But now we're going to add some more target selector arguments. So at all is a target selector. It allows us to select specific targets based on certain criteria. At all is a nice easy one. It's every player. There is also at E, at entity, which is every player and mob. Okay. There is also at P, which is at player, and it's the closest player to where the command is being executed. You can also add variables to these target selectors. So this one is at all, but we want to only target people who aren't on the team already. Otherwise, the people are continually joining the team 20 times a second, which we don't want. We want them to join the team once, and that's it. So we're going to open brackets, and we want to specify if they are not already part of the safe team. So what we do is we put team equals, and then we use an exclamation mark, which means not. So in Minecraft command code, if ever you use an exclamation, it means not something. Okay, so this is going to be at everybody who is not on team, what should we call it, lobby. Team lobby. Now, as you can see, this is all highlighted in pink, which means it's wrong. Because I believe you have to specify which team you want them to join before the target selector. So we're going to do team join lobby at all who are not already on the lobby team. So when the new player joins and he's not on the lobby team, boom, he's connected or joined the lobby team, but then it won't affect him again because he's on the lobby team. Okay? I just keep checking the chat just in case there are any questions while we're going ahead. But that's pretty simple, okay? Now what we need to do is we need to create this team, okay? This doesn't exist at the moment. So in our server window here, we are going to team add lobby, okay? And this will add a team called lobby. There we go, created team lobby. Now, at the moment, this is making everybody who joins the server part of the lobby team. What we want is we want people to be able to move to the PvP arena and not be part of the lobby team. But with the code as it stands at the moment, everybody 20 times a second, if they're not on the lobby team, is going to be joining the lobby team. So we also need to add some extra target selector criteria in here to specify only people in a certain area, okay? And that is done by X, Y, and Z coordinates. So in addition to people who are not already on the lobby team, we want X, Y, and Z coordinates of the center of the lobby, which was X equals 8, Y equals 8, and Z equals, can I remember it, 42. Another comma in there. We also want to add a sort of a volume, because at the moment that is everybody who is in that one block location. And just in case somebody moves a little bit further before or in between those 20 times a second, it can happen. We also want to put a distance equal to 9. So this ... 9 after our distance means 29, or less than 9 blocks away from the center 8, 8, 42. Okay? So this is our main function file. It's running 20 times a second, and our first command in here is for players who are joining. It is going to check if they are within 9 blocks of the XYZ coordinates 8, 8, 42, and if they are, and they're not on the lobby team already, then they are going to join the lobby team. Easy. In our command window for our server, we also want to turn PvP off for the lobby team. So we're going to team. If we press tab, it gives us a list of different options. So I've pressed tab. I want to modify the team. Modify space. And if I press tab again, it'll cycle through the teams, as we've only got one at the moment called lobby. It'll autofill lobby. Press space. If I press tab again, it'll give us another list of all the different options that we can use. I want to... What do I want to do? Friendly fire. So friendly fire Now this is cap sensitive, so you need to make sure that your capitals and small case are all in the right order. And then press space, and then it's basically true or false. And we want this to be false. So we're going to modify the lobby team to turn friendly fire off. Friendly fire is false. There we go. Friendly fire is now disabled for the lobby team. So all players joining the lobby, because they're not on the lobby team and they were within 9 blocks of 8842, they are going to join the lobby team and friendly fire is disabled. That's our first bit of code. Okay? Lovely. We also need to create another team with friendly fire enabled, and we want players to join that team when they get teleported to the PvP arena so they can start fighting. So we are going to team create, team add, we are going to call this team PvP. And there we go, team created PvP. Team modify. See, now when we press tab, it gives us an option because we have 2 teams. We're going to modify the PvP team. Press tab again. We are going to again friendly fire, and we're going to set this to true. Nothing changed. Friendly fire is already enabled for that team, so we don't need to change anything for that team. Now, we do want players, when they're teleported into the main game arena at the start of the game, to be moved to the PvP team. So in addition to our code here for our start of the game, we also add join the PvP team. Tab in, and we will do team join PvP at all. Now this will join. This will make sure that all players, wherever they are, join the PvP team so they can fight each other. Okay. Now what this won't do after the game started is join players to the PvP team. So once the game has started, everybody gets teleported into the main arena there. They all join the PvP team there. But if somebody joins the game once the round has started, they will spawn in the lobby because that's where the spawn point is, and they will be joined to the lobby team, so they won't be able to fight. Okay? So far so good. So what else do we need? We do need a timer. Now, timers, you can code in several different ways. I used to build them using Minecraft's redstone clocks, which is where you have a circuit using relays that tick between on and off to count. But recently I've moved to a different way of running, and that's wrapping it all up into a function file, which is easy to do, but you just have to make sure that you get it right, so that it runs. And what we do is we just count the number of ticks. As I said, Minecraft ticks 20 times a second, and we can use that as a basis for a timer in the game. Now what we want to do is we want to create a timer with seconds, with ticks, so we count 20 of those. And once we've counted 20 ticks, we want to start counting seconds. So at 20 ticks, we want to count seconds, and we want to count one of them, but then we want to reset counting ticks back to 0. And then on the seconds, when we've counted to 60, we then want to start counting minutes, so we want to count 1 minute, and then we want to reset the seconds. Okay, and the way that we do this is we create a scoreboard and create 3 fictional players. We call them tick, second, and minutes, and we give them points. So every game tick, we give the player tick 1 point. So in 20 ticks time, he's got 20 points. And then if that player has 20 ticks or 20 points, we then reset his score, but we give a player called second 1 point. Okay? I'm not sure you're with me, but I'll explain as we go along. First of all, we need to create a scoreboard objective. Again, if you don't know what the options are, if you just write the first command in, space and then tab, it'll give you the options. So objectives. So space, tab. Do we want to add an objective, list the objectives, modify an objective, remove an objective, set a display for the objective? We want to add an objective. So we're going to add. Now, if I press tab, nothing happens because this is where we have to give our objective a name. And we're going to name this objective timer. Because, you know, it makes sense. We then tab. Now, display all 5,420 possibilities. There are 5,420 different types of scoreboards that are already tracked by a Minecraft server. So every interaction a player does with all the different block types, all the different colors, all the different how far he's swam, how much he's eaten, sorry, him, they, how many mobs they've killed, how many times they've died, all of that is already tracked by Minecraft, and so you can create a scoreboard that then outputs how many times a player has killed a mob, how many times a player has killed another player, how many times a player has died. But there's one that's called dummy, which is nothing. It's not an inbuilt or built-in scoreboard of Minecraft, okay? I'm not going to show all those difficulties, but I'm just going to create it, and it's going to be a dummy scoreboard. It's a fictional scoreboard that we are going to add to and take away from, okay? So there is our created new objective, timer. What we then need to do is put our players on the scoreboard, okay? So we're going to have, as I say, 3 players. We're going to have tick, second, and minute, or tick, sec, and min. And these will allow us to track the number of ticks, the number of seconds, and the number of minutes that's in the game. We're going to first do scoreboard. Now this time we want players, so we want players. Now what can we do with the players? We can add players, enable players, get players, list players, operation players, remove players, reset players, or set players. Now we want to add players to our scoreboard. Add. So do we want to add everybody, an entity, a player, a random player? At S is the player who's executing the command, so that would be me, or myself. Those are the options that are given to us on the tab. Now what we can do is we can create a fictional being that's kept on this scoreboard, and the first one we want to add is called tick. Okay, space, tab. This gives us a list of the scoreboards that are available. At the moment only timer is available. Okay, space, and we want to add nothing. So added 0 to timer for tick, now 0. So that has added a fictional player called tick to our scoreboard, which is called timer, and has given it 0 points. We also need to do the same again for seconds, but we're going to call it sec, and the same for minutes. I'm going to call it min. Ooh, min. There we go. There is our 3 different time denominations: ticks, seconds, and minutes. Right, now main game timer. At the beginning of the game, when all of this happens, we are also going to place a reference block, and this reference block is just a stone block in a specific position which allows us to code and tell Minecraft that we have started the game. Okay, I call these reference blocks, and I'm going to call this one the main place main game timer block, and it's set block because we want to set a block. I'm going to use 1 for 1 Minecraft stone. Actually 1151. Oh, not 45. 151. Minecraft stone. Okay. Now that allows me to tell Minecraft that if that block is there, the game is running. The game. Please start counting the timer. Okay. Now each game tick. This is where it gets a bit tricky for me to explain. So if there are any questions, please put them in the chat, and I will do my best to elaborate on how this works. If our start block, our main game timer block, is there, we want to start counting the timer. Okay, and this is called an execute if function. Okay. Execute. So we want the code to do something for us, but we only want it to do it if there is a block in 151, which is here, and that block is stone. Okay? So at the start of the game, we're going to place a stone block in 151, and then our main function file will execute if that block 151 is stone. We want it to run scoreboard players add tick timer 1. Okay, so if the block at 151 is stone, we're going to run scoreboard players add the player called tick on the scoreboard timer, add 1 point to it. Now, as I explained, this main function file is running 20 times a second. Okay, so this will now add 20 points to the player tick on the scoreboard timer per second. Okay, so that's counting the number of ticks. Okay, if we do nothing more than this, when the game is running, it'll count it in ticks. So 20 ticks would be 1 second, 40 ticks will be 2 seconds, 60 ticks will be 3 seconds. But it's hard to count in ticks, and players don't necessarily understand what ticks are, and we want to display a timer to the players, so we're going to count in seconds. And to do this, we use the execute command again, and we're going to tell it that if our tick timer gets to 20, what you need to do is give the second or sec player 1 point, and then reset the tick player to 0. Okay, and again, very easy to do. We're going to use the execute command, but this time execute if score, S-C-O-R-E. So execute if score tick. So if the tick player that we created, timer, on the scoreboard timer matches 20. So if our fictional player tick on the scoreboard we created timer matches 20 points, okay, we want to run scoreboard players add sec timer 1. So our player tick, who's just been given 1 point every tick, has got to 20 points on his score, and this line 17 will execute because his score has got to 20 and give the player sec 1 point. Okay. Now we also need to reset the tick timer. So we're going to again execute if not scoreboard. Execute if score tick timer matches 20 run scoreboard players, and this time we need to set the tick timer to 0. So at the start of the game, our stone block is placed in that location, and this is running 20 times a second. So 20 times a second, this execute command is checking if that block is still there. If it is, it's given our tick player on the timer scoreboard 1 point. 20 times a second, this will execute if the tick player's score on timer scoreboard matches 20 points. It is going to give the sec player on the timer scoreboard 1 point. It is also going to reset tick's points on the timer scoreboard to 0. Now we want to do the exact same thing, but for minutes, but it won't be 20, it'll be 60. So if sec player on timer scoreboard gets to 60, it gives the player min 1 point and then resets the score for sec. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it the easy way, in that I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste, okay, and then change these variables. So we want this to be sec and sec, we want this to be 60 and 60, and we want this guy to be min and this guy to be sec. Oh, sec. So now this will count and give tick player 1 point every tick. When his score gets to 20, it's going to give 1 point to sec, and when it gets to 20, it's going to reset it to 0. Then if the player sec reaches 60, it's going to give 1 point to min, and if sec gets to 60, it's going to reset sec score to 0. So 20 times a second, tick is getting 20 points, his points are reset, but then sec gets 1 point, and 60 times a minute, sec is getting 1 point, and when it gets to 60, we're giving min a point, and we're resetting sec score. And that is how to build a timer that counts using the Minecraft ticks. Now this will continue to run while this block is in place. If that block is then destroyed or removed or changed to anything but stone, this will fail to run anymore. Okay, and this bit of code here you can actually just copy and paste into any game to make a timer. What we got? 5 lines. Easy as pie. What we need to do, we need a way to stop the timer, obviously, at the end of the game. So back to our functions, we are going to create a new function, and we're going to call it end.mc function. Yes. And in our end function, we're going to have hash stop the main game timer, and we want set block 151 Minecraft Minecraft air. Okay, so at the end of the game, when it gets to the end, we will run this command, run this function file, and that will stop the timer because it will change this stone block to air, and because this first line relies on that stone, on that block being stone, it will fail to run. And if it's not giving any points to tick, then tick will never get to 20, and so seconds will never get his point, and it will never get to 60, so min will never get his point, and so that way it will stop the timer. Okay, and that's with our start main function running 20 times a second and our end. Also in our end function, because we want players to be able to play again and we want the timer to always start at 0, we also want all of the timers players to be reset. So reset timer scores. Okay, so we want scoreboard players set tick timer 0. We want to copy and paste this twice more, and we want sec to be 0, and we want min to be 0 as well. Also at the end of the game, we want all players to be teleported back to the lobby. TP all back to the lobby. We want to do this. So where's our lobby? So it's 8:42. So TP at all for 8:42. 8:42. What else do we need at the end of the game? We also want all the players to have all their weapons and armor taken from them, otherwise they'll get duplicate amounts. So we also want to clear players inventory. So we want clear at all. Okay. So far we've got our start function, our main function, and our end function. You can have as many functions as you want, and they can do as much or as little as you want each. I personally don't ever have a Minecraft function file if it's just one command that I want to run. What I'll do is I'll put that into the main function and have it execute if a certain criteria is met. So if I'm ever going to run something once, that's how I do that. It's only when I want to run a bunch of commands all at the same time that I put them in these Minecraft functions. Right, what's next? We need to track how many points each player has got by the number of kills they make in the game. This is done by a scoreboard again. In our server command window, with scoreboard objectives, we're going to add an objective. We are going to call it score or kills. It's PvP, so we're going to call it kills. And then this is where we use one of the natively embedded scoreboard options that Minecraft provides us that tracks how many kills the player makes. Now I can't remember what it's called, so we are going to use Google, because there are 5,000 of these things and I can't remember them all, right? So with a short Minecraft commands, a little Google search, we get this, the commands official Minecraft wiki. Now this is the Bible for all Minecraft commands. It is minecraft.gamepedia.com/commands. If you ever get stuck, go to here. You will find everything you need to find here. Target selectors that I've been discussing, and the variables on target selectors. So team we used, and X, Y, and Z we used. Distance we used as well. If you keep scrolling down, it gives you a list. So these are all the different commands. And if you click on them, it will take you to a page where it will explain how to use that command, how to code that command. We are looking for scoreboard objectives. Okay, so I think those commands that have been removed. We want scoreboard. Scoreboard, there it is. So if we go here, this is all the different types of commands that are applicable both for the Java edition and the Bedrock edition. We're using the Java edition. Don't know if I already said that. Scoreboard command reference. This will take us to a list of all the different objective commands, player commands, tag commands, team commands available. As I say, there are so many of them. When adding a scoreboard objective, so scoreboard objective add, as you know, we add the name of the objective and the criterion, and then you can add a display name, and it can be different to the actual name that you've given it. So we're going to create an objective called kills. We want it to add a point every time the player kills another player. Now, we used dummy before, if you remember, to track the scores for tick, sec, and min for our timer. We want player kill count, so score increments automatically for a player when they kill another player. This is what we want. Java edition only, and it is player kill count. So player with a small p, and then kill and count with capital letters. So we're going to call this kills, and we're doing player kill count. Now, if I don't want to type it, if I'm lazy, if I get about halfway through and press tab, yeah, it's going to auto-complete for us. Enter. There we go. Created new objective called kills. Lovely. What we want to do is display that on a scoreboard, okay, and we need to set it to display somewhere. Now, most of the games that I make, we have a scoreboard on the right-hand side, and that is called the sidebar score area. So we need to back into scoreboard objectives. This time we're going to modify, and we're going to modify kills or timer. We're going to modify kills. Display name or render type. Oh no, we need to set display, not modify. Excuse me. Right, set display for. This is a list of areas that you can set the display, so you can have it below their name on the tab list. Below their name above their head, or on the tab list, or on a sidebar, or you can create team sidebars so that if you're on a team, you see the scoreboard, but people on another team don't see it. Because we want everybody to see who's killing who, we're going to set display on the sidebar. And then it's going to ask us what scoreboard we want to display on that sidebar, and that will be kills. Enter. So, set display sidebar to show objective kills. Lovely. Now, that won't show until we start killing people, right? Which, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there. We can minimize that for now. So now we're at a point where we've got our main function file that is joining people to a lobby team so they can't kill anybody. And when the game has started and that block is there, it starts counting the timer. At the start of the game, it teleports everybody to the PvP arena. It tells them to fight. It joins them to the PvP team, it gives them their weapons and armor, saturation and regeneration, and it places that block so that the timer starts counting down. In our end timer, in our end function, it stops the timer, it resets the timer, it teleports everybody back to the lobby, clears their inventories. We now need to reset the kills scoreboard. So that kills scoreboard will increment as players are fighting each other, killing each other. If somebody kills one, you get a point. But at the end of the game, when it finishes, we need that to be reset. Okay, so reset scoreboard, kills scoreboard, kills scoreboard. And we want scoreboard layers reset. Now this is where we're going to use a wild card, and that's an asterisk, and that means every player. So usually if you do at all, it will only target all the players who are in the game. If you use the asterisk, it means every person who has a score that's tracked. So if a player joins the game, kills somebody, gets a score of 1, leaves the game, his score is still tracked by the scoreboard, but he can't be targeted with the at all because he's not in the game anymore. So we use this asterisk to wipe the scoreboard. Okay, so scoreboard players reset, asterisk kills, and that will reset the skills scoreboard. Okay, so where are we now? So we need some start conditions and we need some victory conditions. So we need something to trigger our function file to start, and we need something to end the game. Okay, now during the game we are counting the ticks, the seconds, the minutes. Okay, we don't want the game to go on too long, so we can add maybe 2 victory conditions if the time gets to 3 minutes and not everybody's dead, or if everybody but one person is dead. I think is probably where we're going to go here. So let's do the timer first. So what I'm going to do is indent and then make another comment, because under my victory conditions I'm going to have 2 victory conditions. The first being time runs out, and my second one, one player left. Yeah. And our start conditions, we also do we want the game, what did I say? I wanted like a countdown first, so that players can get ready to fight, which would probably be a better way to do things. Let's think about this. So that's start. So we're going to create another function, I think, and we're going to call it ready.mc function. Delete that. Yes, that's fine. I'm going to put ready. So we're going to have ready after start, but before the before start, but after the main. Save. And in the ready function, so this is, I want this to execute when the player pushes the button. So let's jump back in the game for a minute and go and get the location of this button. So facing west, and is a Minecraft oak _ button at location 16842. So just going to make a note here. Button. It is where is it? 16842, which is the XYZ coordinates, and it is facing west, which is important when we put the button back because we want it in the correct orientation. Otherwise it will spawn in midair and it will look a bit weird. Okay. So what we also need to do is, first of all, what did I say? 16.842. Remove start button. First and foremost, set block. Forgotten it again. 16.842. 16.842. Minecraft. Okay. Now, I'm going to create another timer. Remember how we created this timer? We had this fictional person on this scoreboard, and if this block is there, it's going to give that fictional person 1 point. So I'm going to create another fictional person. Scoreboard players. I'm going to set, and I'm going to call them start. And I want the player start on the scoreboard timer, and I'm going to set his score to 0. So now I'm tracking another fictional player on the scoreboard called timer, and that fictional player is called start. And we're gonna copy and paste this from our main game timer into our start conditions here. But I need to change the reference block. Otherwise, when the game starts, it's using the same reference, which we don't want. We want another block, which we're going to set in this. So set ready. What do I call it here? Set block place main game timer block. So I'm going to say place start timer block. Set block. Now we've used 151, so we're going to use 161. Minecraft. Again with the spelling. Minecraft. Stone. Oh, stone. Set block 161 Minecraft stone. Okay. And then in our main function file, I'm going to change this to 6. So it's the block above, or the space above this one. So save. So when they click the button, it's going to change the button to air, so they can't press it again, and it's going to put a stone block in that location. Now our main function file, going 20 times a second, is going to see that block there, and it's going to start adding points on the scoreboard called timer for the player called start. So that started a count in ticks. Now this isn't something that we're going to display to the player, so it doesn't actually matter too much that we're only going to count in ticks. We just need to be confident in ourselves that we get the next bit right, and that we count in ticks in 20s. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to, when they press the button, it's going to say welcome to PvP. I think that's probably what we want it to do. So we're going to add in here welcome message title. Title. Squiggly brackets, because we're going to do some fancy stuff. Quote marks text, quote marks colon, and then we want it to say welcome to, welcome to, comma, quote marks again, color in the American spelling, quote marks, we're going to have it gold. Okay, I'm going to copy this because it's easier than writing it out again. Paste, and then subtitle. So welcome to will be the big words that you see, and under that in smaller letters, which is our subtitle, it's going to say welcome to, let's call this stream PvP code learning thing. What can I call it? Welcome to stream PvP code hyphen along or something like that. Because you know, my hope is people will play this back and try and do it in real time. Just press pause if you don't understand something. You can rewind it, right? So that'll happen. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Save. So that'll happen straight away as soon as they press the button, but we want to delay and give them a bit of a countdown. Okay, so we're going to use the execute if score for player starts on timer scoreboard matches. We'll give them 2 seconds. So if it matches 40, then run. What do we want? Another title at all title, and then because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna copy this, copy, paste. Yeah, text welcome to, we want to change that to something like get ready. Now we also, for silly computer reasons, need to set a subtitle to nothing. Oh, come on. Delete. There we go. So in this ready function file, when the player presses the button, it displays a title and a subtitle. Now, Minecraft, for whatever reason, keeps that subtitle in its memory. And if you run the title function again without a new subtitle, it'll display the last subtitle in the memory to the player again. So, when our start timer gets to 40 ticks, which is 2 seconds, we want to display get ready to them. We also then want to display a subtitle of nothing, which will reset the subtitle so it won't display anything again after this. So we only need to do that once. I'm going to then copy this line. Again, I'm going to change it to 80, so that's 4 seconds. And I'm going to then start a countdown, okay? 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to have it start the game, okay? So I've added in these lines, okay? So that's, I can then edit this. So that's 80, it's going to say 3. So we're going to add 1 second to it. So this is going to become 100 because we had 20 ticks. This we're going to change to 2. Then we're going to add another second. So that'll be 120 ticks. And this will be 1. Okay. And then another 20 gets to 140. And we're not going to run a title command. We are going to run our start function. Okay. So function custom colon start. Lovely. Right, control save. So let's just play through this logically in our heads. Players are all in the arena. They've all joined the lobby and been put onto the lobby team. Everybody's ready, so they press the button. The button sets itself to air and places a timer block at 161 and says, welcome, let's give that a capital W. Welcome to Stream PvP Code Along, colour in gold. Because that block at 161 is now stone, this is going to run 20 times a second, so it's adding 1 point every 20th of a second. So in 2 seconds time, when the start player on scoreboard timer gets to 40, this line here is going to execute because the start timer matches 40. It is going to run title at all, title get ready in gold. It is also going to execute title at subtitle, nothing, resetting the subtitle for all the players. When it gets to 3 seconds, it's going to say 3. Then when it gets to 4 seconds, it's going to say 2. When it gets to 5 seconds, it's going to say 1. And then when it gets to 6 seconds, it's going to run our function file called called start. Then in our start function file, which is going to only run once, okay, because when that gets to 140, we are then going to reset it and turn the counting off. Okay, so our start function is executed. Everybody is joined to the PvP team. Everybody is told to fight. Everybody is teleported to the PvP arena. Everybody is given the diamond sword, the bow, 64 arrows. Everybody is given regeneration for 3 seconds, 100 buff with particles turned off, and saturation for 3 seconds with 100 multiplier with particles turned off. It is going to place the main game timer block so that in the main function it can start counting the seconds, counting the ticks and the seconds and the minutes. But what we need to do is we need to reset this part of it, otherwise this continues to count and run in the background. So as part of our start function, we need to set this block 161 to anything but stone, air. So we'll do that. So we want to stop the start timer, because that's what we call it, the start timer. So set block Minecraft, set block 161 Minecraft, oh my goodness, Minecraft : F. We also need to reset it, so reset the start timer. And we do this with scoreboard, players, set start timer to 0. Okay, so it stops counting that start timer and resets that timer to 0. Awesome. Save. So what we haven't done in game is we need, when they push that button, it runs this ready function. So we're going to jump back in the game. Back to game. And then behind here, we want this command block here to run function custom ready, like that. Done. Oh, wrong button. So that when that's pushed, it runs the ready function. Now, at the moment, we haven't loaded any of these function files into the Minecraft server. Although we've created them, and they're in the folder structure, they won't be running until we've reloaded or restarted the Minecraft server. Which is what we'll do now, just to make sure. Even though our text editor displays the fact that there are no errors in our code because nothing's highlighted in pink, what we're going to do is we are going to reload. Enter. Now this is where you need to look for some errors. These are errors. Look, could not load plugins voxelsniper.jar in folder plugins. So that failed to load. Above that line it says it's loaded 4 custom command functions and there are no errors underneath it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lovely. So those 4 are now loaded and the main function file is running 20 times a second. And the fact that in-game nothing is happening is a good sign, because nothing should be happening until we press that button, except we should have joined the lobby team. Now we can check this, okay, in-game, slash team list, so we can list, there are 2 teams, lobby and PvP, okay, team, no we don't, we want scoreboard players list. There are 4 tracked entities, min, sec, tick and start, and those are all on our scoreboard called timer. I want to make sure that I'm on a team, so team, remove modify list, and then lobby. So there is 1 person on the lobby team, and that is me. Excellent. So I've automatically been added because, you know, I'm in this area, so I'm automatically added to the lobby team. That's good. So we know everything is working as it should, or at least as we think it should. Okay. So we've got our ready function, we've got our start function, we've got our end function. Let's have a look at our end function again, just to make sure. I think it's really the main victory conditions that we need to now code for. There are 2 victory conditions, as we said. Time runs out, or there's 1 player left. So time runs out. Let's do that one next. So I'm going to use execute again. Execute if score for min on the scoreboard timer matches how many seconds, how many minutes do we want the rounds to run? 3-minute round, 5-minute round, 3-minute. In boxing and things, you usually have like a 3-minute round, so we'll do 3. So if the score for minute on the scoreboard timer matches 3, we want to run. What do we want to run? We could run the end function. Run function colon end. No, sorry, function custom end. I'll get the right syntax. There we go. So it'll run this function, which will just stop the timer, reset all the time. Stop the timer, reset the timer, teleport everybody back, clear their inventory, reset their skills, their kills score. What we want to do is we want to tell players the time has run out. And what we can do is we can add a title command in here, title at all, title colon text, sorry, speech marks text, colon speech marks, times up, dot, 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 comma, color, we'll stay with the gold theme, gold, and then because we're lazy, we can copy and paste this, and we'll have a sub time's up. No clear winner. And we can have that in red. There we go. Okay. So that's nice and easy. If the minute timer gets, if the timer that's tracking minutes gets to 3, then it runs the end function file, which we are now saying time's up, no clear winner, and it resets our game. Now this does mean that we cannot call this end function file again if there is a winner, because it says there's no clear winner. So we need to copy and paste this and create another end function file that says there is a winner. And that will be triggered when there is only one player left. Yes. So in our function files here, we are simply going to copy this. We're going to paste it here. And we're going to change the name to win. Because that's quite self-explanatory. So there is an end to the game, or somebody wins the game. And we don't even need to delete all of this. What we could do, oh dear, caps lock. Congratulations. We have a winner. Okay. Control save. Now, main function. We just need to clone code for this now. Now there are several ways that we can do this by counting players. I think is the easiest way. We can tag players, so we can give each player a tag, and then when there is only one player left with a specific tag, we can execute it. It's really there's several different ways of skinning this particular cat. But we're going to use the same methodology that I used when we put together our spleef game. Where are you? Minecraft server, spleef, build, data packs, bucket, effects, data, custom, functions. There are no functions in the spleef game. Interesting. All right then. It's the same one I use in the beacon. And that. Where are we? So matches player left on the scoreboard. Execute command when there is one player left. Lovely. So in here we do need to start counting the players on the PvP team, and we need to keep a track on who's left on the PvP team. So if you remember, we have the lobby team, so there's non-PvP, and then PvP team, which is PvP. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at a count of how many players are on each team, and when there is one player left on the PvP team, then we're going to end the game by saying there is one player left and that player is the winner. Okay? Now, to count players on the team, what we want to do is we want to use another execute command. Execute as at all team equals PvP. So everybody on the PvP team is going to execute this command, okay? And it's going to run scoreboards and players add players or players left timer 1. Okay, so we're going to use our timer scoreboard again, and on our timer scoreboard we are going to create another fictional player called players left, which will be used to count the number of players left that are on the PvP team. Okay, so 20 times a second, everybody who is on the PvP team will add 1 to the players left score of the timer scoreboard. Okay, so we're going to create that fictional player. So scoreboard players add players left timer 0. Okay, so we're going to set it to 0 at the moment because there are no players on the PvP team. Now, what we need to do is we also need to add in a small bit of scoreboard logic, because at the moment 20 times a second everybody who's on the PvP team will add 1 to the players left score. Now picture this in your mind. You've got 3 players in the arena all on the PvP team, and 20 times a second they are each adding 1 to the scoreboard timer for player left.
Rainbow Man
So excuse him in the background.
Hello. Oh. Okay, thanks for informing me.
Player left timer. Sorry, where was I? After the rude interruption. So yes, so imagine that the 3 players each adding 1 point 20 times a second. So it's a lot of points that are being added to the scoreboard all the time and won't give a true reflection of the number of players left. So what we're going to do is use some scoreboard logic here. So scoreboard players operation. Okay. We're going to create a second scoreboard to track players left against, and we're going to have it change itself to players left. Okay, sounds complicated, it's really not. Okay, we're going to players left. Okay, so our same dummy player. Okay, but we're going to add him to a different scoreboard, and we're going to call that scoreboard the winner. I'm going to make sure that that score is equal to players left on the timer. Okay, and what will happen is this will run first, and then this will run afterwards. So what will happen is scoreboard player operation, players left score on the winner scoreboard will take the points from players left on the timer scoreboard. Okay, so players left score on the timer scoreboard will now equal 0. Okay, execute as at all people on the PvP team run scoreboard players add player left on scoreboard timer 1. So if there are 3 people left on the PvP team, each of them will add 1 to players left score, so his score will now equal 3. Okay, and then all of this code will execute again, and it will get to this part, scoreboard players operation. Players left score on the winner scoreboard will now take the points from the players left score on the timer scoreboard. So players left winner score becomes 3, and players left timer score becomes 0. Now I hope I've explained that part of scoreboard logic. Okay. What we do need to do is create a new scoreboard. Scoreboard objectives add, and what have we called this? Winner, and it's a dummy objective. So there we've created that winner scoreboard, and we also need to scoreboard players add players left on the winner. No. Set to 0. There you go. So players left score on the winner scoreboard is now set to 0. Okay. So now that we have our scoreboard logic to track the number of players, so track number of PvP players left. There's our 2 bits of code. Now we need our victory condition to run should the players left equal 1. Should there be 1 player left? So we're going to execute winner when not execute run when 1 player is left, and we're going to run execute if so we're going to execute if the timer is running and the game is being played and there is only 1 player left on the PvP team. Then we're going to say congratulations, you've won the game. So to do that, we're going to run execute if block, and our timer reference block is 151, and if that block is Minecraft stone run, and this is where we can nest execute commands. Okay, nesting means putting together, so you can have several different if statements. So execute if block 151 is Minecraft stone, run execute if score for players left on the winner scoreboard matches 1. So there's only 1 player on the PvP team. Then run function custom win. Not winner, just win. Whew. That's it. That's all our code. Save. So we're going to make sure we save. I used the shortcut Control S for saving these, and I know they've been saved because instead of a little circle, these have all got an X by them. Lovely. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to reload our server. We did see some errors there, so we're just going to check them. Those errors are because Voxel Sniper failed to load. It has loaded the 5 custom functions with no errors because the errors are reported down below. Lovely. What I'm going to then do is jump back into the game just to check nothing is going on. Nope, nothing's going on. I'm going to check that I'm still team list lobby has 1 member and it's me. So I guess all we need to do is press start. Now you've got to remember that I'm only 1 person in this game. So what the game should do if we follow the code, if you remember, when I push that button, it starts, it triggers the ready function. So what it's going to do is it's going to set the block to air. So the button is now going to be air. It's going to place this stone block at 161, which is going to start counting our start timer. It's also going to say, welcome to Stream PvP Code Along. Now, because it placed that block at 161, it's going to start counting against our start player on the timer scoreboard. It's going to give them 1 point every tick, or 20 times a second. When we get to 40 ticks, it's going to say get ready, and it's going to reset the subtitle. When it gets to 80 ticks, it's going to say 3. When it gets to 100 ticks, 2. 120 ticks, 1. 120 ticks, 1. And then 140 ticks, and it's going to run the start command. The start command is going to make me join the PvP team. It's going to say fight. It's going to teleport me to the arena. It's going to give me a diamond sword, a bow, an arrow. It's going to give me regeneration and saturation. It's then going to place a block to start the main game timer. It's then going to stop the start timer by changing that block from stone to air. It's then going to reset the start timer. Then, because that block is now stone, it's going to start counting our tick timer, our second timer, our minute timer. Our minute timer will never get to 3 minutes because I'm the only player there. So this will never run. But, so because that will never run, this end function will never run. What it will do, because I'm now on the PvP team, it will add 1 to players left against timer. And because there is 1 against players left timer, players left on the winner scoreboard is now going to equal 1. And because this block is stone, because we've placed it to start the timer, and because players left winner matches 1, that would be me, I'm the only person in the game, it's going to run the function custom win. And because it runs that, it's going to say, congratulations, we have a winner. It's going to stop the timer. It's going to reset the timer. It's going to teleport me back to the lobby and clear my inventory and clear my kills. Not that I will have any. And all of that will happen in 1/20th of a second. Because that's how it rolls. Are we ready? I'm not sure. Clear. Oh! Welcome to. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations, we have a winner! There we go! In 1/20th of a second, I was teleported to the arena, given my weapons and armour, and because I'm the only person there, I was then teleported back, given a congratulations because I'm the winner, and my inventory was cleared. Now what I need is some test subjects to help me test that this does actually work. I mean, I'm pretty confident it does work, but obviously you guys need to help me. Disconnect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to our main server. I might give it a new server IP, so that you can log in and you can play. Now, obviously, if there's just one of you, like there's one of me, it's going to do exactly what you did there, and you're going to win every round. But what should happen is 2 of you should fight, 1 of you should win. Congratulations, you are the winner. Or if there's loads of you, then you should all fight, getting points. If the timer runs out, there's no clear winner. If their timer doesn't run out, but everybody is killed by 1 person, and that person is the winner. What we're going to do now is we're going to stop the server. Press any to continue. We are going to, we don't need that anymore. These are all saved, so we're going to close these. Exit. We don't need our data packs. We are going to close this, and we're going to call this PvP stream game. Okay. And now I'm going to jump onto the server here. So this is our Minecraft server again. I'm going to copy this, copy. I'm going to paste it. So we've got in here, Minecraft server, a builds folder with lots of games that we're trying to build or are being built or somewhere in between. So there's our stream game there. Now I just need to have a look at what port I can use. Okay, so in our stream game here, in our server properties, oh, let me double check that. Yes, okay. We are going to change the server port to 25700. I'm going to save it. Exit. So that's saved now. I'm going to turn off this server. There's nobody in there. Sorry guys from Code Dojo in Ripley. Big shout out to Code Dojo in Ripley. That's their server, and then we're going to start this one. And that should bind to the port 25700. There we go. So you will be able to now connect to this server. And what I will do is in the close that now. In the chat, I will say Club Minecraft .uk:25700. Enter. There we go. So that is now running on that IP address. Okay, so there we go. Club Minecraft.uk:25700. If you use that IP address, okay, in your Minecraft games, you can either direct connect to it, cancel, or you can add server, and that will be the server address in there, Club Minecraft.uk:25700. Join the game and have a go and see what you think. Now obviously this is quite a simple game. We don't identify the winner by name. It's very clunky in the way that, you know, there's a short countdown, people are teleported to the arena. 3 minutes is a very long time. It's not a very big arena. I didn't do this for the build aspect. I did it to explain how we can create a simple PvP code base, introduce you to function files that are saved within the server or the world. So if you're in a single player world, you can go into your world folder. So you should have a world folder. So say you have many single player worlds, they'll all be listed like this, and in your single player world you will have a world folder, and that is where you will find the data packs folder to save your function files. So you can do this in a single player world as well. Okay, so we've introduced you to function files, we've introduced target selectors, so that's the @all, @p, @e, and then in square brackets after that we've used X, Y, and Z coordinates. We've used teams. We've also shown you how to set up teams. I've also shown you how to use scoreboards, setting up dummy scoreboards or already tracked scoreboards that are native to Minecraft. And I've also taught you or shown you how to create a timer that is based on Minecraft ticks. If you have any comments about what we've done, then please let me know in the chat. If you want to reach out, if you've got an idea for a game, if you want me to explore something different in another one of these videos, please let me know. I'd be happy to. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Please join the game, try it out, see what you think. If you want, I can actually email you the function files so that you can start playing around with things. Please be aware that they are based on 3D location within a Minecraft world, so you will have to create or recreate the Minecraft world with the same coordinates, or change the coordinates in the function file to suit your PvP arena. But yeah, either way, you can reach out to me via email if you need to, matt@clubminecraft.uk, or we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or in the comments below. Thank you very much, guys. Been a pleasure, and I hope you enjoy the game.